afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
The topic before us today is cellular respiration. What did I say? Cellular respiration. Under cellular respiration, we'll be looking at the following subtopics under cellular respiration. Now, we will discuss about the definition of the cellular respiration. We will discuss about the types of cellular respiration, types of cellular respiration. Then we'll look at the differences between the types, the differences between the types, Then we'll look at similarities between the types. Now, the first one, definition of cellular respiration. Now, cellular respiration is from two words, the cellular and respiration. The word respiration simply means the conversion of food derived during nutrition into energy. I said it means the conversion of food derived during nutrition into what? Energy. Then the word cellular is from the word cell. That means the conversion occurs in the body cell. It occurs where? In the body cell. So let's look at the definition of cellular respiration. This is the conversion of food into energy which is stored in form of ATP. It is the what? Conversion of food into energy which is stored in form of what? ATP. Now, for instance, the food derived from nutrition, which is what? Glucose. We have so many forms of food, but the popular one, the one that serves as a source of energy to human is what? Is glucose. It is converted to what? Energy. To what? Energy. And that energy is stored in the body in form of what? ATP. So this is the meaning of what? Respiration. Conversion of what? Glucose into what? Energy. This glucose is the word food. Is the word food. Do you understand that? Then we have two types of cellular respiration. We have how many types? Two types of cellular word respiration. And the types are, number one, types of cellular respiration. Types of cellular respiration. Now, number one, we have aerobic cellular respiration. We have what? Aerobic cellular respiration. And number two, we have what? Anaerobic cellular respiration. Anaerobic cellular respiration. Anaerobic cellular what? Respiration. So we're going to take this one after the other, starting with the first one, aerobic cellular respiration. Aerobic cellular respiration. Now, this is the conversion of food into bracket glucose, or this is the breaking down of food into bracket glucose into energy in the presence of what? Oxygen. Anything aerobic means presence of what? Oxygen. So if the conversion of this glucose into energy occur in the presence of energy, in the presence of oxygen, we call it what? Aerobic cellular respiration. We call it what? Aerobic cellular respiration. Now we use this equation to explain. We use this equation to explain better aerobic cellular respiration. This is our what? Our food. This is our food. Our glucose. The conversion occurs in the presence of what? Oxygen. Presence of what? Oxygen. And it's converted to carbon dioxide plus water plus 38 ATP. Then, let's balance the equation. Now, as shown on the board, this equation shows the conversion of glucose into energy in the presence of oxygen. Now, during the conversion, there is always production of waste product. Always production of what? Waste product. And the waste product are carbon dioxide and what? Water. They are what? Carbon dioxide and what? Water. So the aerobic respiration involves two stages or two processes. It involves what? Two stages or what? Two processes. The first one is called glycolysis. It's called what? Glycolysis. The first one is called glycolysis, while the second one is called Krebs cycle. It's called what? Krebs cycle. It's called Krebs cycle. You understand? Now let's start with the first one, glycolysis. The word glycolysis is derived from two words, glyco and lysis. Glyco is from the word glucose, which is the food substances we are talking about. Then lysis means to break. To do what? To break. Do you understand that? So glycolysis is a process whereby 6 carbon compound, which is the glucose we're talking about, 6 carbon compound, which is the glucose we're talking about, is converted or is broken down into 3 carbon compound called pyruvic acid. Called what? Pyruvic acid. Called what? Pyruvic acid. So the conversion of the 6 carbon compound, which is the glucose, into 3 carbon compound called pyruvic acid is called glycolysis. It's called what? Glycolysis. Look at it. This is our glucose. It is 6 carbon what? Compound. It is converted into pyruvic acid, which is what? 3 carbon what? Compound. Now this occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. It occurs where? In the cytoplasm of the cell. And it generates 2 ATP. It generates what? 2 ATP. It generates what? 2 ATP. The full meaning of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Is what? Adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. That is the form of the form in which the energy in the body is what? Is stored. Are you getting me now? So I said aerobic cellular respiration involves the conversion of sugar into what? Energy in the presence of what? Oxygen. And the amount of energy it is converted to is what? 38 ATP. Don't forget, energy is stored in the body of an organism in form of what? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And I said during the conversion, it involves 2 stages. How many stages? 2 stages. The first one is called glycolysis. It's called what? Glycolysis. The conversion of 6 carbon compound, which is the glucose, into 3 carbon compound, which is what? Pyruvic acid. And this occurs in the cytoplasm and it generates 2 ATP. The second one is called Krebs cycle. It's called what? Krebs cycle. It's called what? Krebs cycle. Now, Krebs cycle occurs in the mitochondrion, inside the mitochondrion. Krebs cycle, it is a continuous cycle. It is a continuous cycle that occurs in the world mitochondrion. That occurs in the world mitochondrion. So at a particular point, at a particular stage in Krebs cycle, there is always an input of 2 carbon compound. An input of what? 2 carbon compound, which we all know as acetyl-coenzyme A. Which are known as what? Acetyl-coenzyme A. So from this 3 carbon compound, the product of glycolysis glycolytic pathway or glycolysis, 1 carbon compound will be removed by oxygen. Then the remaining 2, which form acetyl-coenzyme A, 2 carbon compound, will enter enter into the what? Into the Krebs cycle. And at the end of the Krebs cycle, there is always formation of 36 ATP. Formation of what? 36 ATP. So addition of this 36 ATP in the mitochondria with the two forming the what? Cytoplasm, it gives what? 38 ATP. It gives what? 38 ATP. So these are the two processes or stages involved in aerobic respiration. Now let's talk about the second one, which is what? Anaerobic respiration. Or anaerobic cellular what? Respiration. Now, unlike the aerobic cellular respiration that involve the use of what? Oxygen, or the conversion occur in the presence of what? Oxygen. Anaerobic cellular respiration occur in the absence of what? Oxygen. That is, oxygen is not needed for the conversion to take place. And what is the meaning of anaerobic respiration? It simply means the conversion of sugar in the absence of oxygen into carbon dioxide, ethanol, and 4-ATP. Into what? Carbon dioxide, ethanol, and 4-ATP. As shown in our equation on the board, I will use this equation to explain. We have our food, our glucose, 6 carbon compound, converted into 2 carbon dioxide, 2 ethanol, plus 4 ATP. Now, this is our what? Anaerobic respiration. The conversion occurs in the absence of what? Oxygen. In the absence of what? Oxygen. And there are 2 types of anaerobic respiration. The first one is called alcoholic fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation. And the second one is called lactic acid. Lactic acid fermentation. Now, let me explain. The first one, alcoholic fermentation, it occurs when yeast is used to convert the sugar to energy. Are you getting me now? In this alcoholic fermentation, there's an enzyme used. That enzyme is produced by what? Yeast. We call that enzyme zymase. We call it what? Zymase. We call it what? Zymase. So the yeast converts the what? The sugar into carbon dioxide, ethanol, and what? 4-ATP. Are you getting me now? But this lactic acid, it occurs in our muscle. It occurs in our what? Muscle. The conversion of glucose into 4-ATP in the absence of what? Oxygen. In the absence of what? Oxygen. And this lactic acid fermentation is what that leads to muscle fatigue. Is what that leads to what? Muscle what? Fatigue. Is what that leads to muscle fatigue. The accumulation of the lactic acid in our muscle causes what? Muscle what? Fatigue. Do you understand that? Though the equations are a little bit more similar because they both generate for what? ATP. Are you getting me now? But both occur in the absence of what? Oxygen. Do you understand that? Why aerobic occur in the presence of what? Oxygen. Now let's look at the equation to find our differences between aerobic and anaerobic what? Respiration. Between aerobic and what? Anaerobic respiration. Let's look at the differences now. Between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. That was our next subtopic. Aerobic respiration, then anaerobic respiration. Now, under aerobic, we have production of what? 38 what? ATP. That means more energy is what? Generated. More energy is what? Generated under aerobic respiration. So, there is a what? Libration of, let's put it this way, 38 ATP is produced under aerobic respiration. While anaerobic, we have 4 ATP is what? Produced. Now, number 2. This number 1. Number 2, difference between aerobic and anaerobic. I said the other time, aerobic respiration involves the use of what? Oxygen. Involves the use of what? Oxygen. Oxygen is needed. Oxygen is what? Needed. Then here, absence of what? Oxygen. Absence of what? Oxygen. Now, number 3. Now, look at the byproduct of aerobic respiration. The byproducts are what? Carbon dioxide and water. They are what? Carbon dioxide and what? Water. Why the byproduct there are what? Carbon dioxide and what? Ethanol. Byproducts are carbon dioxide and water. Why byproduct here are what? Ethanol and carbon dioxide. Do you understand that? And carbon dioxide. We have other differences which you can all derive from the word, from the equation. And the similarities. Glucose is used for the 2 respiration. Carbon dioxide are produced in the 2 respiration. Energy are liberated in 2 what? Respiration. Did you understand that? So, do you have any question? Yes. I'm going to give you an assignment. And the assignment is state for importance. State for importance of ATP. State for importance of what? ATP. We will discuss about this assignment in our next class. Thank you, class.